Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm Jay, and this is Micha, a brand new inductee into the Booth Buddies here. Thanks for joining up, Micha. Micha has some specific questions that we're going to go over. Does my accent pass as a native English speaker, being a German? And are the accents and voices consistent and believable in the sample? Are the characters, alive? And are there any major technical flaws? We're going to talk about all that and more. If you want to send in a sample, just like Micha here, there's a form in the description. It's free if you want to jump the queue, just like Micha here did and not wait the 2-ish months to get your feedback. You can join the Booth Buddies. You submit more than once if you want, and you get bumped to the top of the queue. Lastly, I got an audiobook course out now for any of my audiobook friends. If you do try it, let me know. I'm really curious to how folks are finding it because I plan on continuing to update it as we go. Link for that's down below if you want. Otherwise, thanks for being here. And Micha, first, let's talk about a couple technical things right out of the gate just to make things smoother for everybody here. First things first. Your audio is a bit quiet right out of the gate, so you can probably afford to turn your gain up a smidge. Usually, if you're setting the levels for your audio as you're watching the meters on your DAW or recording software, you want it to be bouncing somewhere between -18 and -12 or 9 dB on average. And that gives you plenty of headroom so that you're not worried about clipping and gives you a good initial recording level. So if we listen to just the first little bit here.
Greetings and a dimension splintering welcome to Mr. J.
We can see that the meter down here is bouncing just where we want it to in there. And that's going to be helpful very much for you going forward, I think. The other thing to note is you have a great deal of dynamic range, which makes sense because you are doing a bunch of different characters in this sample, which we'll hear in a moment. But you've got these loud bits right in the middle, and then you have sort of an average speaking level here, which is much quieter. If we want to even everything out so that the volume or loudness isn't going loud and then soft and loud so that the listening experience for those reviewing your audio or if this were an audition or a demo or a final product or something like that, we can add a bit of compression. The way to do, I have videos going into depth on how to use compressors in general. But what this will do, if we just sort of fiddle this around, is take these loud bits here, and it will make them much more even relative to the rest of your audio. So if we just apply this here, we can see that that evens things out pretty consistently. Those weren't necessarily ideal settings for you, so I wouldn't take those numbers and plug and play them, but something like that. And then if we boost it up to a listening level, typically I just normalize things to -3. Look at that. It's a nice, even listening experience that's at a good loudness for most of us. So those are the two big technical things to begin with. The last technical thing is your space sounds like it has a little bit of treatment to be desired. Not a huge amount. It still sounds pretty good, but I do hear a little bit of your room in the recording, as you probably hear some in my space here. So that might be one thing to look toward in the future as well. But otherwise, I think you sound pretty good overall. Now let's talk about the fun stuff.
Greetings and a dimension splintering welcome to Mr. J and a soul-warming army of smooth-voiced Booth Buddies. Sending transcending regards from the outer wilds to all of y'all. Wait, what did I just hear? Let me see.
Pick me up and a bite off you dorsal fin, you fart brainy fuck-filtered mushroom.
Excuse me. God damn it. You want to give me a heart attack? Mr. Prister, what in God's name do you want? Beg your pardon, but this is still my spaceship. At any rate, I came to introduce to you our newest guest.
Madame Trudeau, I'm very pleased to meet you, Mr. Gordon.
Oh, yes. Very pleased too. Me too, to meet you, Madame Trudeau. Very well. We'll be on our way then. Wait, What are you recording over there? Oh, that's nothing. Wait, let me just turn this.
Nice. I love it. I love it. It's really, really great. First blush, let's go through your questions in order. So, does your accent pass as native English speaker, being a German? It's pretty good. It's pretty darn good. There are a few specific things that we can iron out, or that you could look to iron out, that would make it even more passable, I guess. Funnily enough, I was talking with someone last night about this, but in German language in particular, the use of consonants is quite different from English in many ways. And furthermore, it depends on the type of English that you're emulating here. So if you're going for an American English versus a UK English accent or something like that, there will be some differences here. But one of the big ones is what's called a medial dental fricative, which essentially means T's in the middle of words. A dental fricative is when your tongue touches your teeth and makes a t-t-t sound. So in what's happening a couple times in here is you're hitting the T's quite hard. Wanted, and things like that. A good example are words like water and matter. If some non-native English speakers, or some people who are really working on their enunciation, will really want to try to hit those T's really, really well. So words like matter become matter rather than matter. So in American English, at least, many of those words become much more relaxed. And so the difference would be, rather than matter, in American English, it would shift to matter, which sounds like M-A-D-D-E-R, but that's just the way we say it. And many of them flow like that. Water is another one. Water. We shift the T to a D in American English. In UK English, it's slightly different, where that T is still hit, but the R at the end is far softer. So the difference would be, in American English, water. In UK English, water. So the T is emphasized in UK, the R is kind of emphasized in American. Water, water. Matter, matter. So that's one difference that you can look at. And there was another thing that came to mind, and I can't recall precisely what it was. Come on back. But let's listen a little bit. I think it had to do, I'll listen again as we go through, but let's listen now phrase by phrase for the character voices. Overall, they're really, really great. The only thing that's kind of happening is the different characters are adopting very similar speech patterns, or rhythms rather, meaning a lot of them have a similar flow of speech, which is a big thing that helps to differentiate characters. So many of their voices are close enough together that it becomes difficult to distinguish. Particularly, I believe there's this sort of gnome-like character who's going to bite somebody's nose off or something. And then there's the pompous fella, the radio broadcaster. And then I feel like there's two different somewhat pompous gentlemen, and then lady, what's her name here, is obviously a steamboat because they both become befuddled by her. But sort of like case in point, the fact that I'm not sure how to distinguish the two of them leads us to a question of, okay, how can we make those characters more disparate in terms of your performance of them? And one of the things that I'm tending towards is simply the rhythm of speech. So let's listen to this last few seconds of this.
Mr. Prister, what in God's name do you want? Beg your pardon, but this is still my spaceship. At any rate, I came to introduce to you our newest guest.
Madame Trudeau, I'm very pleased to meet you, Mr. Gordon.
Oh, yes. Very pleased too. Me too, to meet you, Madame Trudeau. Very well. We'll be on our way then. Wait, what are you recording over there?
Maybe I'm off my rocker with rhythm. Well, I think it's a combination of rhythm and pitch difference, a really useful way to differentiate characters, not necessarily to pitch their voices up and down categorically, meaning you've got three characters here, and if you just say, Madame Trudeau is pitched here, the kind of blustery guy is down here, and then the gentlemanly fellow who seems to have everything under control is here. You could pitch them arbitrarily like that, but it can also shift based off of emotional vibes in the moment. So if one character simply starts and or ends their line in a state of agitation that's up here, the next character can try to counter that by shifting lower. And then we can shift around like that. What's happening right now is they're all existing at a very similar pitch, which makes it difficult to distinguish. And I do still believe that moving more of them into pulling them apart further in terms of their rhythm of speech will also probably be beneficial. Though I do think upon a second listen there with that specifically in mind, I feel like it's okay. The other thing that I was going to note with accents is this is something that happens in terms of learning new accents pretty frequently. But in speech, words will flow one into the next. It's called like an elide, where it'll just go like elide one word into the next. So want to would be a good one. Want to, in American English at least, want to. The T's sort of become combined into one. So rather than want to, which can be done for emphasis, but in the flow of speech, generally it gets smashed together into want to. And so there could be a measure of ease that you bring into that. Similar with, and usually it happens with shared consonants, but in this moment, I can't remember all the rules, but I guess so. Guess so kind of becomes one word almost. Guess so. Guess so. And again, just for emphasis, that's typically in the flow of speech, but people will bust them up into two separate and distinctive words occasionally for emphasis. But that tends to be the rarer case. Let me make sure that I know what your last question is. Are the characters alive? Yes, of course. Yes, of course. I think you're doing a great job bringing the characters to life. They're responding to each other quite well. Sometimes what can happen with accent demos like this or character demos like this is it becomes more so a showcase of listen to all these different voices I can do. And we lose the characters interacting with each other. And I do think generally you're doing a good job having them respond and play off of each other. I do, however, think that, what was I going to say? The clarity of responses to each other, I think that it could be more dramatic, perhaps. Not dramatic in the sense not of like, oh, this character has a soap opera response to the next, where it's like, how dare you? And then they throw a glove to the floor or something like that. The responses from one character to the other, right now, the A to B responses, I think could be just a bit sharper. So, for example, Madame Toto, or whatever her name is, she exists right now somewhat distinctly as a character that's kind of there, and yet she's not really acting upon the other characters necessarily. And we could just strengthen it if she has specific intentions with her delivery here. And it could be that the guy responding to her is just a bumbling idiot who's, classically just floored by the presence of a woman. And that's possible. But the context of the scene, I guess, is to sum it all up, is somewhat lacking in that way, where if I know what these characters are trying to do, how they exist in the world, how they relate to each other, those are kind of the threads that are a little bit weak at the moment. So they all are great characters, but why they're here and why they're interacting with each other, if we sharpen that, it will not only help to bring them more to life, but it will also help with the narrative of this demo a little bit. And of course, grain of salt there, because I recognize this is not necessarily done with that intent, but food for thought. Let me know if that makes sense. I hope this was helpful for you, Micha, and thanks for sending it along, my friend. And welcome to the Booth Buddies. Once again, everybody, send your questions, send your forms. Check out the Audiobook Academy course. I'll be also releasing other courses on my website if you're interested in that kind of stuff. I'll keep you posted because I know folks have asked for them. But until the next one of these, be well, everybody, and I'll see you there. Toodles!